these kind of breadcrumb videos where you agree or disagree. I think that was a really interesting idea. I hope you keep going with that.
I participated in that.
Yeah, that's the next, that's where I'm heading anyway. In terms of trying to keep everything really concise, because then you're really arguing to the individual. Let's find out who I'm talking to, and then I can talk to you. So it's almost like it's almost a computer science way of looking at it. Like you make a different argument, tailor the argument to the individual, that kind of idea. And I like the idea of doing that where, you start off as open as possible and you narrow it down to the individual. You find out who it is. Who are you? Are you somebody I need to talk to really carefully and sensitively? Or are you somebody that can take the truth? That kind of thing. Straight up. And then can we have a straight up argument about, look, we know most of this is shit. Okay, there might be some value in this human, being in the universe, and we're here, and look at 4 billion years it took to make us, and so we should do something to preserve that, because goddamn, 4 billion years is a lot of work. Okay, so we should do something with it. But yeah, there's also the danger of we're going to fuck it up because we're selfish assholes, and you know what I mean? Just so you can have that direct conversation with one individual, and some other individual is going to need, well, we're all spiritual and love, and yes, we love and we're spiritual and we love our spiritualness and we're free and we have a brain and we can invent and we can create and we're all creative. Yeah, that kind of shit. That's really what it's about. There's so many people who think they're really creative. Creativity. People really think I'm creative. I'm an artist. I'm a they have that thing, like they're doing something really important, even though it's not really important.
A world without God is a world dead and done for, motherfucker. And you better believe sucking dick for a cock.
Whatever. I think God has dirty underwear.
You consider yourself a god, Mr. DoNotGod? I'd like to know, huh? Do you believe in a lot of prophecies? You look like a prophetic man.
Your premise doesn't even make any sense. I say do not God does not mean I am calling myself God. I'm exactly saying something the opposite of that.
Are you from the South? You have a Southern accent.
I do whenever I want to have, I have, because as you have revealed, I am God-like, even though I am not.
Can I call you
He sounds like a
Lieutenant
skeptical
Dan?
heretic.
That's funny because a lot of people think I'm Lieutenant Dan. I'm the Lieutenant Dan, thank you. No, I'm Beer Professor. What's up?
One of the magical powers I have is I can make you fall on your laptop at any moment. At any moment, I can make you fall on your laptop and disappear from our reality. At any moment.
Oh, is that a threat? Is that a threat? Do you find me a threat? You don't even know me.
It was slightly veiled.
We haven't even started talking. We barely uttered a word to each other. Huh? I'm just another character, just like everybody else in here that's been listening in until I came upon here. And now here I am, talking, sending my message out. And I'm saying what kind of a freak you are, and I believe you really are.
You're like green, and you're like, what? Is Vulcan gone all bad or something? What, did Vulcan got like lead paint poisoning or something?
You fucking loser, man. You're like 45 years old. Get out of here.
Smart. You're just talking
bibbly babble. Do you consider yourself a Christian? Answer me. Answer the question. Do you consider yourself a Christian? Huh? Answer the question now. You're not one, man. You're a freak. You're nothing. You're nobody. You're fucking yank that hair back and cut his throat now. This guy loses.
All my
air loses hard in the war.
It has never entered this man's penis.
You fucking crackhead, come on. You haven't even got me started. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
Oh, whatever. What is this? Von Helton's little brother. Oh, damn.
I knew just from looking at the guy. Even if I put him on mute, I knew just from looking at him he was a fucking freak.
Alright, that was interesting.
So, could I sum all that up?
Oh, that'd be super. Yeah, please.
Because I'm actually on your side, by the way.
Ah, well, it's just... Well,
Doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but DoNotGod.
Yes.
Could I have just 30 seconds?
Yes, yes, yes. There they are.
I am holding the guitar, and it's meaningful. It's...
Wait, he's holding his guitar? Oh, is that what you call
it? No,
okay. I'm holding his guitar too!
So, this is the room. You talk yourself into putting the gun away.
Stop it! I hate audio spam. I hate it.
No, this is pertinent, though.
It's spam. No, it's spam, okay? Sorry, it's spam.
Okay, I won't do it.
Thank you.
What the fuck is happening?
I don't, it's like this every fucking week, right? The same shit. Same crazy motherfuckers show up. I'm like, okay, yeah, I just played badminton with the crazy fuck. And you're saying, why am I doing that? Why?
Davio seems like a polite troll.
Oh yeah, well, he's okay. I don't know what he just did.
I'm not a troll. No, it was only a song that I wrote that's like about the same thing. And I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Send it to me in the mail. Okay, cool, fine, wonderful, great.
Okay, well,
Email.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Can we talk about music then?
No. Talk about music. What do you think that's a subject?
The weather. How about the weather? The weather. Let's talk about the weather.
No. Except for the weather on Paul's porch. Paul does great weather. Paul tells great stories. You have to, there's just no way to deny it. I mean, Paul can tell a great story, just about being on his porch. And dropping, I dropped a pizza. I dropped a piece of pizza on my porch, and Paul have a whole story about that. And it's really good. I mean, I wish I could tell stories like that. But I always make them short.
It's a useless superpower. It gets you nowhere in life.
Yeah, it's true. It's one of those mutants. You would be a real, like an X-Men. Yeah, I tell really long stories. Oh, wow, you're the really long story guy, huh? Woo! Yeah, we could use that. Not. Yeah.
In that case, we wouldn't be X-Men, we would be former men. X-Men, former men. Ha ha ha.
Oh, bad joke, man. Yeah, that's another really useless fucking superpowers. Bad jokery. Yeah. But that is another concept, just in movies, as movies go. It's just so fucking silly, is that X-Men shit. I mean, really. Bumblebee woman. Oh, fuck.
So let me ask you this, Gary, and I think I know what the answer is going to be, but I'll ask anyway. Recently my whole kind of trip has been I've divested myself from the health of the world. And I'm focusing inward. I hate to use this term because it sounds so what would you say, phantasmagorical, but I'm exploring inner space because outer space is so horrific, trying to understand myself a little better.
Jan Cassius thinks too much.
Well, let him finish.
Sorry to interrupt, but sorry.
No, that's okay. That was basically it. Do you think there's any value in that?
Well, I think there's all the value in that, to tell you the truth. I mean, not if you're going to live there. You know what I'm saying? Not if you're going to go, like, completely internal and never be able to have a rational conversation with Earthlings again. But I just mean that, the whole game is inside there. Obviously how to put this? I find doing the same thing. I find doing my internal trips so much more interesting than trying to understand other people. trying to understand myself is so much more entertaining and more interesting in terms of, which part of me is full of shit. But it's, I guess that's part of it, right? If you go inside yourself, what do you find, right? You don't find Paul, do you? It's like you find Joe and Fred, and you find all these assholes in there. You're saying, how the fuck did you get in there? When the hell did I pick you up? Like, were you hitchhiking or something 20 years ago, and I picked you up, and what are you doing in there? Because you find motivations and attitudes and things inside of yourself you say, I didn't even know I had. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I like doing that kind of deconstructing myself thing, just because I constantly, I mean, it also gives you these kind of like deja vu moments where you're saying, this is what I keep doing. I keep saying, how the fuck did I get here? How did I get from start to this as the finish? You know what I'm saying? Like, say if I drop dead right now, this is the finish? I mean, fuck. Where did I drop the ball this badly? I mean, there's no way I could be this fucking incompetent. Okay, I'm cool. There's no way I could fail this dismally. So there's got to be more to this story, right? Because this is not good enough, damn it.
Yeah, it feels like I've got and it's probably just an illusion, but it feels like you've got a measure of control when you're examining yourself. I feel completely out of control when I try and understand other people's motivations and just the world at large. But I feel like I've got the potential to make a little headway, at least with the time I've got left on the planet, to understand me a little bit.
Do you see something like, see, I see a clarity that I get, like, even with, like, no matter what I'm doing, like if I was playing pool right now or something, you know what I mean? You can get those moments of clarity, like this is almost like meditation or something, because it also gives you a clarity in terms of like getting rid of the clutter inside your head. So if you wanted to focus on something, your vision is much sharper, because you went through that process. So like, do you feel like you could maybe write a story better, or, you know, find some other kind of, well, you like acting and stuff, right? Where you'd feel more in control in doing that. Like you can see it better. You can see yourself doing it more, like with a precision that you didn't have before you did that.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, you've talked about this quite a bit, but it's that whole we're all kind of slaves to our own psychology in a way, and trying to understand the why, trying to find out why I am the way I am, why I feel the way I feel. There's a measure of control there, and a measure of power there that just isn't there when it comes to looking at the world and trying to solve the problems of the world.
Yeah, I guess it's that reflexive thing too. There's a big difference between being, defensiveness, where you're just fighting back, and then when you're just take away the fight and just say, what's the real game I'm playing? What am I really after? What do I really need? What do I really, value? What do I, keep looking inside for the piece of something that means something, Not that that's always I mean, it can be a little depressing when you start finding out that, oh yeah, there's not much to me. You know what I mean? That maybe I'm too simple, and it leaves me with too little. But I really like the idea that I like the clarity I get when I just take myself out of thinking about the bigger picture and just do the internal picture, totally inside, picture.
Well, I mean, I think once you've figured yourself out, you've sort of figured everyone else out in a way. I mean, I'm not too much different than anyone else in the world. And then once you realize how shit you are, you realize how shitty everyone else is.
Well, I guess there's some value to that in the sense that you sort of do get the idea that, yeah, there's nothing really running me except the same 13-year-old kid that was always me, or whatever that is, that kind of agelessness, the...
Also, there are very few people that have these conversations. So, That has to be a +1 in some form or fashion, right, guys? You know?
There's very few people speaking.
Smart people labor over these things, and sorry about that. But we're all here for the same reason, I think.
You're boosting my self-esteem, Davio. Stop it.
To what? You know, we won't even go into the reasons the trolls are here. But yeah, you know, look at my shiny anus. Yeah, I don't know. What are they here for, right? What are those people really doing? Man, that's hard to figure out.
They're just
I
bored.
think women are deeper than men, though. I think that they're more interesting personality-wise, and if they were to look inward, they would have a more interesting time than men.
What leads you to believe that?
Well, just because men are built on a more simple hard drive. They're just sex and very impersonal. Women have a whole emotional and personal depth that men lack.
See, I don't
Depth,
think
you call it depth. Is it really depth, though? You know, I mean, but you know, women will kill each other to go buy a Cabbage Patch doll. You know, I mean, come on, it's not exactly depth. You know, you don't put that on the postcard or the, you know, the monument of human dignity. You know, is 300-pound women beating each other to death to get to a Cabbage Patch doll.
Can confirm, am a woman.
Yeah.
I don't see how that applies, though.
Well, I don't think that you can make a unilateral statement like women have a more interesting or meaningful internal life than men do. I will own up to the fact that there are probably differences, but you know, I have emotions. I'm not just driven by my desire to stick my penis in a warm, wet place. You know, there are other things in there. It's not all hunt, meat, kill.
Well, yeah, and what is, and let's say if it wasn't, okay, I mean, the alternative is kind of wishy-washy, isn't it? I mean, you know, emotionalism for the sake of emotionalism. I mean, look at the hysterics that, you know, women sometimes display. You know, you'll have the images of the woman in the crisis, and she's on her knees wailing and, you know, doing the whole mumbo jumbo, and you're just saying, what, is that evidence of depth of feeling? That evidence of really good acting?
I think it is evidence of depth in relative comparison to the male, who would seem, by comparison, to be overly uninvolved.
Well, I'm just saying let's maybe we can just agree to just say that, you know, there are Joan of Arcs and there are Caesars. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's great men and there's great women. But yeah, there's a lot of mediocre men and there's a lot of mediocre women. So, you know.
Well, I think a lot of what you're talking about, Heroin Church, is more of it's social conditioning rather than a fundamental truth about the difference between men and women. Like, men are socially conditioned to not be emotional. You know, if you cry as a man, you're a pussy, right? But a woman is expected to cry. And, you know, I think if you dig past that, you'll find a lot more depth than you think you have.
But isn't that some of that just biological? I mean, I don't think it's just conditioning, right? I actually think there's like hormones or something. Because I really can't cry easy. I mean, I really have to, like, force it, you know? I mean, I can't say I've had a good cry in the last 20 years. I can't say I've had one single good one. If I had any, they were always negative ones. But I'm just saying, you know, it's not you just don't, just doesn't happen, you know, like it did when I was a kid.
Yeah, but when
I can say the same thing, though. I haven't cried in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were a kid, were you not to play armchair psychoanalysis here, but like, were you encouraged? Was it okay to cry when you were a kid, or were you kind of like told to suck it up?
Well, I did get ridiculed a little just because I was always complaining and always crying. I mean, you know, I was, you know, that's what my job was in the family is, yeah, it's Gary's job to cry about everything. So I would cry because the ice cream is sticky. I would cry about everything. I was a cry baby, as you say. So I was always, yeah, I was an emotional basket case. And in a sense, it
You
was
seem like a
okay, but
very
then
sensitive guy.
I mean, I'm vulnerable to complete psychoanalysis in the sense that my parents pulled this move, right? I had a twin sister, and I was really dependent on her. She was my strength, so to speak, because life was tough, and, she was my friend, and so I had this guaranteed friend, you know what I mean? So, like, it just gave me some kind of security. And so they saw me as being, they said, oh, he's going to turn into a faggot, so we better blah, blah, blah. So, okay, it was no more affection for my mother, and they took my sister away. So they made us be in different classrooms in school. And yeah, it was like the worst thing they could have done because, yeah, it just crippled me emotionally. I was just like, now I'm alone in the world. My mother doesn't like me. My sister's gone. And I was like totally fucked. And the world was killing me. I mean, it was raping me in the ass every day. Just as, I mean, my life was horrible in grammar school. I was beat up every fucking day. It was just awful.
Well, that's like Starving Africa in the chat said crying does not make one a faggot, and I agree, but that's what a lot of men are taught. That's what I was taught as a kid. Is that crying was weak and you need to suck that shit up and deal with it like a man. So yeah, no, it's not true, but we're conditioned to believe that it's true.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to say is that I never felt like I have a right to do it, especially in private. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't really, I don't publicly do shit anyway. You know what I mean? I don't even want to publicly dance or something. So why would I publicly cry? But I always felt like I had the liberty, certainly, to cry in private. Like if I wanted to have a wank or I wanted to have a cry, I could certainly do it. But I'm just saying there's a point where I just don't feel it. It just doesn't naturally happen anymore. So I just don't know whether it's all. I mean, I think women are hormonally more vulnerable. I guess I'm making that kind of argument. I think there's a chemistry to crying that's, that has something to do with estrogen and all that kind of crap.
I mean, honestly, I don't think so. I think it's all cultural. I mean, I think deep down inside you're actually a pretty sensitive guy, Gary, but I mean, you've just been sort of culturally desensitized because of all the bullshit you went through. And all these expectations of manliness and macho-ness.
Yeah, I just don't think so. I really just don't. But whatever.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit of both. I don't tend to go with either extreme. I think that there are, obvious psychological and biological differences between men and women, and maybe it's easier for women in general to express themselves in that way. But there certainly is. Maybe it's just here in America, but it seems to be a worldwide thing, where men are conditioned not to cry, not to be emotional about anything.
Yeah, well, crying is pussy
Oh yeah, I
shit,
definitely
right?
agree.
I mean, let's just be honest, right? I mean, it is pussy shit, right? So, I mean, if you little wimpy asses start crying in my goddamn tiny chat room, which is already gay enough, and start having a little boo-hoo fest, yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Okay, so fuck you people and your crying shit. It's crying game nonsense. No, anyway, I don't know what to say. I'm just saying that I'm sort of got the impression, like I said, that I kind of gave it up at around whatever, 16, whatever the number is, and it just wasn't something that just, it didn't come easy anymore. So I just tend to think it was more hormones than, anything else.
Well, I actually think it's about awareness. I mean, again, like Paul said, I hate to play armchair psychologist or whatever, but I think you always place a big emphasis on suffering and such. And I think that's a due part in being aware of what's going on in the greater picture of the world, and I think you're a lot more inclined to that sort of thinking. I think you're a really sensitive guy, Gary.
I think Paul has, and I think he's like me. I think I think a lot of people have. It's kind of a sense of perfectionism, a sense of something, something done truly elegant, well performed, well done, and it's just this whole thing that life is just too sloppy. I mean, there's just no way to control this thing. There's no way to ride this horse well, and so it's almost like you're just like, damn. I mean, not failing as much as that asshole isn't good enough. I want to do better than not being as big an asshole as him. I mean, that's not a good enough standard. It's like that's kind of the game we're playing, and it's not a good enough game. There's no precision in this thing. You know what I mean? There's no way. It's like we're playing with crooked arrows. You know what I mean? You can't trust where they're going to go. And it's too sloppy. Give me a real arrow, damn it.
Yeah, but I think, like, intelligence is linked to some sort of sensitivity. Like, you're more reactive of something than other people. Like, more intelligent people are able to react differently to something different, like a new piece of knowledge, like a new piece of discovery or something like that, and I think you definitely have that.
I know, but some of it's just visceral. I mean, some of it is just the visceral stench of life. You know what I mean? It's like I'd like to say that everything I do has something to do with some kind of principle, but the principle is it's just too fucking sloppy. It's just not good enough.
Alright.
On a personal level, I'm just saying that there's a piece of me that wants to play I want to play a good game. I don't want to, it's like, it's like bowling on a gravel driveway. It's like, I don't know, I could do a million sport analogies, but yeah, it's like playing pool on a warped and fucked up table. It just, there's no game here.
I completely missed this entire conversation, but I kind of want to hear like a summarized version within like 30 seconds of it, just so I kind of am on the same page.
Mr. Hoodie, was walking in the forest. Mr. Hoodie was walking in the forest, and little Whammy Pammy, which is, kind of another way of saying crybaby wolf, right? It was a wolf that cried too much, and they called him Whammy Pammy because, little faggoty name. Well, anyway, he had a whole resentment thing anyway going, and he just beat the shit out of Hoodie, and ate him for dinner, and then shot him the next day. That's the end of the story. So that's what's been going on. You got eaten by a faggot wolf, and then you got shitted. And that's it. That's what happened.
Alright. Dude, you're already a
I'm
fucking
cool.
mind.
I'm cool. Yeah. Well, that's better than my real life. Yeah. Cool.
I don't know, dude. That was, I was not expecting that, so I'm just gonna casually, in a light way, say you are out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, pop a few more, buddy. Pop them if you got them. Yeah.
Yeah, touche.
Right-o.
I'll cheers you on a nice beer, though. Cheers.
Okay, yeah, it's always a little beer. Somebody got a little beer, yeah. Somebody got a little one.
I've also been drinking fucking Ciroc.
Okay, there you go. That's the real deal then. Okay, $40 liquor. Bravo. He must have some kind of whore he can steal all that money from. Yeah.
I do work Monday through Friday.
Well, really good. I'm just saying, good on you. Okay, somebody's got to do it. Because goddamn if it's going to be me. Fuck that shit. Yeah. Work.
Hey, so is your name Jim?
Yeah.
Do you have any kids, Jim?
No, I don't. I'm 22 years old.
Do you intend to have children at
Yeah. Having some
Why?
little young piss in your face.
I don't know, because that's what keeps evolution going. I'm not even talking about my name, but that's literally what keeps life going. I know if I don't have kids, life will keep going, but I would like to keep my life going, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's like the motto of idiocracy. I'm keeping evolution going. Yeah, I'm involved in stuff. Yeah, isn't that what we're doing? Devolution? Yo, that's it.
I mean, I don't know. He just asked me a simple question. Would
I
I like to
know, you
have
gave
kids?
him a
And I
cliche,
answered him.
retarded answer.
For fuck's
Couldn't
sake.
be more cliche. Yeah, I'll pop out some old kidder if I feel like it. Yeah, if I have a hankering for one, I'll just pop one of those fuckers out. Get the whore to do it. Yeah. Call him Jimbo 2. Oh, no, that's probably used up. I'll call him Jimbo 324. Yeah. All right. He'll be somebody. Evolution proves it.
Something tells me if Jim does decide to have children, that bottle of Ciroc is going to figure heavily in that decision.
Yeah, you could figure the whole,
Dude, I'm fucking 22 years old. I literally was just able to drink legally like a year and a half ago because I'm 22 and a half. Now we're talking about me having like a family and what I'm going to do in my life. I'm just sitting here chilling, drinking, and smoking fucking weed. You guys are like already like talking about like my future, like what the fuck I'm gonna do. I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Who the fuck are you to tell me what I'm gonna do?
That's the irony of it. You have absolutely no fucking clue what you're going to do with your own life, and you're basically saying, yeah, I'll go ahead and have a few kids. What the hell? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm sure they'll be able to figure it out because they'll be smarter than me because that's evolution, right? No, that's not evolution.
Dude, that has nothing to do with evolution, you fucking weirdo, dude. You
You brought the
You're in
word
the wrong
up.
chat, dude.
Okay, we're going to go all
You
the
have
way
no
back
idea.
to like 4 minutes ago where you said the word evolution.
Dude, first of all, you look like a fucking skeleton from Halloween Town with the fucking wig on, so you can go fuck your face.
Yes,
You
of
look like you
course, that's
fucking
part
took
of
a fucking.
evolution. That's part of evolution too. It's the evolution of the retarded arguments. Yes, you perfected it.
Listen.
It's like the
Listen to me, you
perfect
fucking
paradiseum.
skeleton
You
from
have now
Halloween Town.
constructed the perfect, huge, colossal asshole argument. It is the, what the fuck?
Yo, you want another fucking Molly, bro?
Oh, whatever. Yes, whatever, bro.
Hey,
Bro,
this is
right?
a chat about antinatalism.
And then we're
So,
gonna go
Jim.
right to dude. Dude,
So,
chill, dude. Dude. No.
so Jim, he's gone. Oh well.
No. Jim fell on his laptop. No, he fell on his laptop.
I
No,
did
Was
not
funny though when he called me
God. I
Skeletor.
swear I did not God.
he's
Yeah.
probably going to go and
You
shit out a
set
bunch
them
of
up and
kids.
I'll knock them down. So that's the only game we got, right? So let's throw rocks at the morons. Damn it.
He's going to go shit out a bunch
That's
of
what
kids
keeps
just
me
to
in the
spite
game.
us now.
Yeah, with his sister.
I'll show them fuckers. I'm going to raise me some good kids.
Yeah.
So I'm to the point where I ask young people that question, and it makes for very strange conversation. Because most people kind of do just go that route. They sort of have the assumption that life is a good thing and that human existence is something that's necessary, something that deserves perpetuation.
Well, it's
I don't know
funny
what the
just because
fuck I'm doing. That kind of attitude.
there was a joke like from my generation of the whole Leave It to Beaver thing. Like, oh, this is, that was the cliche failure. The Leave It to Beaver life or Father Knows Best. Because we had these silly TV shows of these completely fake and phony and empty and shallow
It's about being happy, not about being good.
I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. You're right. No, you know what? I take it all back. He's got Lamborghinis and Ferraris and beautiful bitches that he's fucking in his mansion with his police collar on his ankle. And you're right. That's what the entire human race should aspire to. A complete hedonic argument as
That's
to.
what they are already aspiring to. It doesn't matter if they should or shouldn't. That's what they
Oh.
are. So technically, he's winning.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, absolutely. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's turn the whole human race into a bunch of fucking pigs in the fucking trough, and let's do that. Yeah, you're right. That's a great fucking destiny for humanity.
No other destiny anyway. So that's the whole point, okay? Is that you climb the mountain, and if you're lucky, you drop the fuck dead on the plateau, okay? The air gets thin enough and you drop dead, or you slip and you fall off the cliff, or whatever happens. But yeah, you never have to go to the indignity of going back to the bottom and climbing up again. So I'm arguing from the point of, Charlie Sheen has had more life probably in his life than, yeah, that guy living in suburbia with those 3 kids and working the same job for 30 years. So yeah, by some kind of standard, that's probably a better life. But I'm saying neither life works anyway. And my argument is that I'm saying in 2013, we're free of God, we're free of a lot of the bullshit, and people still have no imagination when it comes to describing a great life, right? They're still thinking a great life is some sort of standard cliche bullshit. And that's the point I was trying to make, is that there is no description of how to play the human game. And they're certainly not going to come up with a description like, oh yeah, I'll be a Gandhi or something, or I'll be some, you know what I'm saying? What else you got to, from my perspective, right? The only thing you got is hedonism or slavery. You're either a hedon, you either play it for your gratification to the max, or you do exactly the opposite, which is you do your janitorial duty, you become Mr. Clean, and you fight the fight and use yourself up as productively as possible and as self-sacrificingly as possible. But there's not much else in between. There's nothing. There's no game.
Yeah, and you may be right, but I mean, it separates the 2 camps so distinctly. I mean, there's the hedonic argument, eat as much ice cream.
Wait a minute. 2 camps. Aren't the 2 camps inside of you right now? The 2 camps are inside of me right now.
Absolutely, yeah. No argument there. Absolutely.
Motherfucking weasel who wants to try to manipulate everything to my advantage, and the other half of me is some kind of rational, sensible, logical thing that knows that it has to be decent, and that decency is good, and that you shouldn't fuck things over, and that you should try to make yourself fucking useful. So I'm already living both those lives, but I'm just saying, even if I invested all the way in either one of them, it's still going to suck. There's no way to win.
Right, but I mean, there's also a third part in each of us that realizes that the game is maybe marginally worth playing. Okay, it's worth playing if you can have pleasure all the time. I mean, who's going to argue that, right? If you can have pleasure all the time, well, let's not get into that.
Your argument against Charlie Sheen is just that he got caught, right? Your argument isn't that Charlie Sheen was wrong. Your argument is that, oh, he shouldn't have got busted, or he shouldn't have been that stupid. He should have just been this stupid. I mean, he shouldn't have been this gluttonous instead of just that gluttonous. So you're just arguing that he got caught, or he got busted, or he crashed the car, but you're not really arguing that it was speeding.
Yeah, I don't know that's really my argument against Charlie Sheen. My argument against Charlie Sheen is that, I know you're going to fucking hate this, but all things grow old, all things grow decrepit. I mean, disease, suffering, and pain are fundamental constructs of life. And Charlie Sheen is going to grow old, and he's going to get cancer, and he's going to fucking look like a, imagine what somebody who smoked coke and drank like he did for 20, 30 years is going to look like when he's
Why do
50 or
why
60.
do I want to be a good-looking corpse? I mean, that joke's been around forever, but why the fuck do I want to be a
That was
good-looking corpse?
Elvis's joke, right? I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm just
Maybe
saying,
you're
why
just
would I
jealous.
want to be a good-looking corpse? Answer that question.
Well, you don't. Obviously, I mean I mean, if that's your sum total goal in life to, you know, live fast, die young, and leave a good-looking corpse.
Might as well look pretty used up, okay? I guess I want to pour everything out of the bottle, rip the label. I want to use it all up, okay?
No,
So
of course you want to use it all up. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, in terms of purpose, in terms of meaningfulness, that doesn't have any meaning, right? To look like Keith Richards and shoot heroin into your fucking eyeball, that doesn't have any fucking meaning, right? I mean, ultimately.
either does changing a motherfucking diaper in suburbia.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we're in no. We gotta find a point we can argue on, because too many points we agree on.
Well, I know you were the one saying that there was something. I'm just saying that I guess. Well, yeah, I'm not going to say that anybody's winning. I'm just saying that that was my argument, that there is no winning. So, but you're certainly not winning with this cliche, haggard, old, bullshitty idea of picket fences and fathers knows best bullshit. And that's hilarious that people are still thinking that that's their salvation. You know, I'll get a wife and some kids and everything will be just fine. I mean, that's hilarious.
It is hilarious. I mean, if you look on the fucking Holiday Channel or any of these fucking channels, I mean, they're still playing Ozzie and Harriet reruns and Andy Griffith. And, well, actually, Andy Griffith was a pretty good show. But, you know, they're still playing, you know, Leave It to Beaver and all that fucking shit. Like, people are going to regress back to the 1950s and go back to this white picket fence lifestyle. It ain't happening. It's never going to happen again. It was a brief aberration it was a brief historical moment, like a spike on the historical whatever timeline, and that's it. And it happened, and it stopped happening, and it's done.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I don't know if I answered your question or not, or if I avoided the question, but.
Well, the point is, I think, is that you would think, I would think anyway, that the new generation would have more stuff, not less stuff. It's like they got a less, you know, it's like we had better guns back in our generation. You're saying, how could they fuck the gun up? You know what I mean? It's like being in the old West, you got a 6-shooter, and you go back to like a 2-shooter. You're like, what the fuck? They got 2 shooters. What they do with the other 4 bullets? I mean, this is so fucking lame. It's like, you know, they have the advantage of this space, this distance from, you know, these traditional notions, and yet they don't have nothing. They don't have any clue what they're doing.
Okay, I mean, you sort of had me like tilting my head like the RCA dog into the microphone with that one, or you know, the speakerphone with that one. But I mean, just to revert back, I've been listening, I've been lurking in the background all night. I mean, you guys were talking about Kubrick, right? You guys were talking about The Shining, and I forget what else you were talking about a bunch of Kubrick movies. Am I right?
Gee, no, you're really on some good opiates. Wow, you're really flying.
Oh, come on, you guys went on like 15 minutes about Stanley Kubrick.
I'm sorry, that didn't happen, but whatever. It's an interesting subject nonetheless. I mean, we talk about Hannibal Lecter, but, you know, Stanley Kubrick, Hannibal Lecter, same thing. Okay, maybe.
Well, now you just hit me upside the head with a 2x4 and made me forget my terrain of thought.
Well,
but,
yeah, you're a terrain in all kinds of things. You have to say more, but it doesn't matter. Let me just finish the damn... The bottom line, so even when we fixed it, you know, even when we make this system more equitable, the point is that we're feeding off of all this exploitation in the rest of the world. So are we going to fix the Chinese problem or not? Are we going to give a damn about human beings in general, or are we just going to care about Americans? So again, this just gets a little, it gets pretty complicated now that we have this international economy, because in an international economy, you either fix it all or you fix none of it.
Oh, well, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's precisely the point. I mean, you've got, China is down in Africa right now, ripping the shit out of Africa, you know, creating open pit slave mines with child slave labor, and they don't give a fuck as long as it gives us rare earth minerals to send to Foxconn to make the fucking iPhones and iGadgets that we all like to clickety-clack, and text our friends and, hey, look at me, I'm fucking on Mount Kilauea, yeah, I'm fucking bitching, aren't I? You know, this illusion, this delusion of Western civilization that is not propped up by slavery in Africa and South America is, well, I don't want to say it's got to end, but I mean, it would be nice if there were more people who were aware of it, at least.
Would you rather we're all equally miserable, or would you rather that?
No, I'd rather.
No. Wait, let me take this, Gary, please. No, I would not rather we were all equally miserable. That's not the case. I would rather we fucking did some fucking population control, like got us down to sustainable numbers, like, and this is going to be controversial, 2 billion. Yeah, we're at 7.2 billion now. How are we going to get to 2 billion? Well, that's a discussion for another night. But
I think we should kill all those that consume the most, like you, Fatty. You're gonna eat more food product than I will.
I live in a shitty one-bedroom apartment, as you do, Fatty, Roundy. We both live in fucking tawdry one-bedroom apartments. It's all just a big joke to you. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, I'll be loser number 1, and you can be loser number 2, and you can be loser number 3, and loser number 4, and then we can make this all so much simpler. But anyway, yeah, well, look, I think we can fix a lot of these problems if we want to fix them. So, I mean, money fixes everything. So I think the population thing is doable. If we really want it to happen, we can just make it less profitable to have kids. Obviously, economies are subsidizing that behavior now. I mean, Japan is hugely subsidizing child production because, yeah, their population is actually declining. And they have still bought into
Russia.
Yeah, well, they've still bought into this idea that kids are Social Security policies and all that kind of crap. That you still have to exploit the young to take care of the old and all these stupid, idiotic ways of perceiving about what life is. And my argument is life should be about this thing where you do work and you get paid for doing work. And this whole ownership crap, this legacy ownership crap, it's got to go. I mean, it's the most corrosive idea. It's monarchy, essentially. When you have this legacy wealth thing, it's essentially monarchy. It's unearned ownership is nonsense. And go back to an economy where you reward people for their initiative, reward people for doing extra. And so you have an incentive economy that pays people to do the best they can. But yeah, in the end, what do we got? We don't, people keep thinking, I mean, we're living in the best of the world. And look, let's admit it, we're barely getting by, right? We need a psychiatrist, and we need doctors, and we need this, and we need that, and we need entertainment, and we need all this shit just to get through our day. And we got the best of it. So yeah, it's all just, it's horrible. So yeah, let's just kind of exit stage left, but I'm just saying, even if we don't exit stage left, we got to play the game better than this, because this is unsustainable. We're fucking the environment, we're fucking each other. It's just, yeah, there's no victory in slavery, and we're just living in slavery. But people don't understand that, so again, people want to live in a lottery. They like lotteries, right? Isn't that what it comes down to? People like lotteries. Even if you explain to people how they're losing, how it's stupid, how it's idiotic to take all this money to have people spend their welfare check buying lottery tickets, they're still going to say, I want to win the lottery.
Well, in a way, in a way that's what I'm looking at to see if my mic is working. In a way, that's what people are talking about, but in a way, what they're talking about is infinite Earth. There is no infinite Earth. It's a finite Earth. There's a finite amount of resources, and you cannot sustain not only infinite growth, you cannot sustain exponential growth, even if it's point.
People don't care, okay? They care about 6 months from now. That's it. All right? They can't see any further than that.
Well, then we're fucked.
We've got to. We're going about this.
You figured that out now, did you?
We're going about this the wrong fucking way. We've got to de-incentivize the whole idea of being wealthy. Like that's got to be something that's no better than.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, this idea, because Gary's right. Under the current system, everybody's dream is to win the lotto, right? Everybody wants to be rich. We've got to de-incentivize that shit. Like, being rich should be okay. It shouldn't be the greatest fucking aspiration that humans have. It should be okay, just like working at a factory should be okay.
Well, it should be not okay that you have a fucking a 10,000 square foot mansion in the Hamptons and a Lamborghini and a fucking whatever 6,000 ton SUV, and you shouldn't have all this shit and 10 crystal chandeliers while 8,000 people are starving to death in the Sudan. There's something. Shut up. There's something essentially disproportionate about that. That does not equate.
Better example, you shouldn't own 8 houses that nobody's living in, right? That you're heating and that you're cleaning and that you're taking and maintaining the wrong ways here, buddy. I guess my point is just that I would love to have had the perspective that people have now. I mean, people, kids grow up now, they have the whole fucking world right on this internet thing. They can type out any word, they can type any concept, they can go anywhere, they can see anything.
Yeah, and they have no memory.
I'm saying they have no. They're not at all inspired. They're not at all motivated. They're not at all. Nothing. There's just nothing, and you're just saying, "Fuck." I mean, how can they not?
They're not sensitive
How can
to
they
it,
end
Gary.
up nowhere from that advantage?
If you were an outside observer looking at the human species and looking at the problem...
Define outside. Is outside Martian or is outside
yeah.
Antarctica?
Pick anything. Pick a Martian. Let's say you're a Martian and you
Martian, outsider. All right.
Just discovered the human species. You look at the progress that we've made as far as the distribution of information. Just let's talk the internet. And we all of human knowledge is right at your fucking fingertips, basically. And,
which it is.
And yet, we live in a culture, and when I say we, I mean in the United States. I won't speak for other countries, but I know it's there too. We live in a culture that glorifies stupidity. So it's like we take this wonderful tool that we've got, and we use it to watch porn and to watch other dumb people be stupid and emulate other stupid people.
Paul, stop. I mean, I'm not trying to be an interlocutor on your conversation, but I don't want to throw too many things into the mix here. Okay, so what you said is perfectly true. We use the internet to search for porn, but Nietzsche said that, Nietzsche said that when people encounter something new, whether it's a technology or medical advance or whatever, philosophy, they always gravitate towards the vices. So the internet came along, yeah, people gravitate towards the porn. But what are we doing here now, right? We've got 8 docs, and we're talking, I think, some pretty cool shit. But you're right. I mean, if you look at most internet traffic...
Yeah, well, you gotta stick to the subject, though. The subject isn't us. The subject is the human race, okay? And again, that's my...
I thought I was sticking to the subject.
Myself, okay? The fault isn't within Inmendham. It is the rest of these fuckheads, okay? I'm doing the human thing really cool, I'm kicking fucking ass as a human being. If the Martians saw me, they'd say, yeah, that guy's doing it right. He's trying.
Right. Right, but I think what Paul's I don't mean to speak for Paul's, but I think, you know, reading between the lines, what he was saying is like, if you were to condemn the internet initially by the fact that, okay, you know, DARPA unleashes internet upon the world and people use it to search for porn, and 25%, I'm sure it's much more than that, maybe it's 50% of internet traffic is all porn, and saying, fuck the internet, let's shut it down because all that people are doing is using it to search for porn.
Being made. That's not the argument being made. The argument is just a simple comment.
I think that...
In that you have the gold, you have been given the technology, you've been given the ability to cure the diseases, and what are you doing with that ability? You're polishing your toenails with it. I mean, it's this idea that we have totally failed we haven't used our goddamn brain for anything better than a sponge, you know, to clean up vomit and shit. And now we have the internet, and what are we using that for? Again, we've turned it into some sort of, you know, dick stroker. Okay, it's just totally fail. And let's understand that the internet was
totally fail.
Intellectual tool. The fucking internet was an intellectual tool. It started off as an intellectual tool, and the intellectuals fucking sold it out. Okay, and they're the ones that sold the fucking internet.
You're right. Okay, you're right. You're right about that. You're right about that. That the
a fucking whore, and they sold it the fuck out. They took their little precious 13-year-old daughter and they dragged it onto the street and they sold it to the fucking vile, disgusting, you know, peddlers of crap. I mean, and that's the really gross thing, is the smartest fucking people on this planet had control over this medium and they sold it the fuck out. The best of the human race sold this precious thing out.
And no argument, and that's exactly what they did. But I think what Nietzsche is saying is that's always what happens with any new technology or philosophy or advancement. Yeah, I know you're going to say that. But okay, forget Nietzsche. But that's always what happens. People always gravitate towards the dark side. Right. They always gravitate towards the shit.
Fucking suck. And if the Martians have any fucking brains, they'll blow us the fuck up. They won't even bother trading for a glass of water or any of that kind of crap that happens in movies.
Nah, I don't. Well, I mean, maybe you got to give it time.
Bacteria.
You got to, and maybe the Martians will do just that. Maybe they will blow us the fuck up because we're fucking fail all the way. But I don't think we've had a sufficient chance to prove our mettle.
What? To do what? To do like the Martians do, which is what? Go around over to the fucking slums and beat the shit out of the fucking homeless assholes when they're homeless themselves? The Martians aren't going to be doing anything either.
Gary, hang on a second.
There is no Vulcan, okay?
I know. You have the upper hand in this argument already.
There's no possibility. You cannot describe an intelligent civilization. You cannot conform it. You can't shape it. You can't show me a movie of it. Make me a movie of intelligent life in the universe. Let me see what that looks like.
There's thousands.
I don't know what videos you're referring to, but you'll make a comment.
I mean, I've watched a number of them. I haven't watched all of them. There's so many. I
watched them all. I'm just saying, if you're going to make an accusation about how I've punched first, I'm just saying, then prove I punched first.
No, wait. I didn't say that. I didn't say you punched first. I said you were a southpaw and you punched maybe you punched last, but you punched lethally.
It's not a terribly relevant conversation because quite obviously, if I could do better, I would be doing better. I'd love to be Mr. Spock, right? I've talked about I would love to be incredibly logical and just sit around and go, well, I don't really give a fuck about that. I'll just have an intellectual opinion and such. That would be great, but that's not, I'm not that. I'm a fucking gorilla, and I have a brain, and the brain nags me and all that kind of shit, and I do the best I can, and that's all I can do.
All right, there's somebody who wants to get in here, so I'm going to shut up for a while and let him talk.
Well, I think the thing with Gary is that does not like to compromise, and I sort of appreciate that from him. I mean, you see a lot of these YouTube philosophers, and they always sort of try to avoid any sort of conversation or conflict with each other, and they sort of try to make friends with each other. I mean, I saw that with Letter Returns. He was sort of trying to be friends with Gary, trying to find this sort of middle ground with him, but I mean, I don't think you're someone that really compromises at all, Gary.
Well, I don't like. I mean, how many insults do you take too? Like Luddite's a good example. Well, Luddite. Well, look at Hospital today, right? That was a good example in my opinion, right? Because he starts off like I want to have a conversation, and then the conversation just starts getting about. Well, let's see how crazy you are. What do you mean? Well, no. The subject isn't how crazy I am, you fucking whatever rooster fucker. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it was just like, fuck you. Let's talk about how you molested your kids or something. Because we're not going to do this. I'm crazy. I'm a cult. I'm this. No. Fuck you. So, you know, I am too reactionary, but I mean, I mean, quite obviously, I can only keep saying, quite obviously, it's not something I have managerial control over. I am who I am, and this is all I can do is do my little Popeye thing, and blah, 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 blah. I am what I am, and, you know, tough shit, and I'll be back.
And I think with the whole alien example or whatever, if aliens were to examine the human race, I think they would have just evolved the same way as human beings did. I mean, there's no way they could have possibly evolved in this.
You know, people keep thinking that aliens are going to have some better way of doing this shit. No, they're going to do exactly what they did in the movies, right? They're going to Jabba the Hutt all over the place. They're going to be giant maggots. I mean, they're not going to be doing anything other than what we're doing. It's just selling each other out, fucking each other over, you know, eating their frogs, and, you know, blood sport. And, you know, that's all there is.
Well, it's interesting that, I mean, you know, I know Hollywood should not be the imprimatur of all that is, you know, forthcoming, but if you look at, I mean, an entire generation or multiple generation of Hollywood's movies, I mean, from the most recent Battleship to Aliens to, take your pick, you know, they all involved exploitative aliens who basically do the same shit as we do, only they do it better, and they have more advanced technology, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's basically the theme in all these Hollywood movies, dealing with aliens.
Yeah, no, Avatar, we were all bad guy all over the place.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Avatar. Right, Steven.
He messed up their good deal of, you know, I see you. Now I'm gonna stick a knife in your fucking dick. Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? I see you. Yeah, that makes it all okay. Oh yeah, when you rape a bitch, just say I see you. I see you, bitch. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna shit in your face. Yeah. You see this? Yeah, well, here it comes, bitch. Yeah, it makes me feel good. I mean, come on. It's just disgusting. So yeah, I'm glad we ruined them. Bastards. Fucking tree brain. I mean, God, these movies are so stupid when you think about them, right? The tree brain. I mean, come on. What do you mean tree brain? Fuck. Come on, no. Star Trek with the little rock guy that was laying the eggs. That made more sense than fucking tree brain.
That's why I love you, Gary. You're so cynical and fucked up. And you bring me back to planet Earth every time.
Yeah, well, sorry about that. I mean,
No, that's a good thing, man. I love it.
I know. I don't want it written on my tombstone.
I mean, that's sort of the point I was trying to bring up.
People back to Earth. You know, I really hate that written on my tombstone. Gary was excellent at bringing people back to Earth. Oh fuck. You know, it's not a good thing. In the little yellow spaceship. He drove them back to Earth in the little yellow spaceship.
I'm still trying to think of that fucking point from the Kubrick movies earlier. If I don't even know if you want to talk about it. You probably want to move on. some new subject.
Well, I think Kubrick is the most overrated motherfucker on planet Earth, okay? I mean, jeez. He's really good at 2 minutes of a movie, and then the rest of the movie sucks. So, yeah, he's good at a 2-minute movie, and the rest of it is...
I heard a boo.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, fucking 2001 was just absolute...
Oh, I don't know. I mean that... Okay, let's...
shit was
Okay.
brilliant, okay? The bone going in the air and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Pre-bone. Pre-bone going in the air.
Boring shit. I mean, fuck. Look,
Well,
here's
the thing, though.
Look at the pen. Look at the pen. It's floating through space on the fucking stream.
Yeah, but prior. Okay.
You
right.
You have a lot more in common. You have a lot more in common with Kubrick than you want to admit you do. Because if you look at the
Well, he has a lot more in common with Nietzsche than he wants to admit, actually.
I don't know about
and Schopenhauer. Oh yeah, he does.
Bullshit.
But anyway, back to Kubrick. Yeah, Clockwork Orange. Let's do that. Okay, so that obelisk, that black obelisk, that had a pure Masonic symbolism in it. It was 1 by 4 by 9, which the mathematically literate will realize is 1 squared by 2 squared by 3 squared. I mean, and if you look at the Masonic symbolism, they have the square as the centerpiece of their whatever emblem. And I think I'm positive that Kubrick.
I already watched the movie and fell asleep 4,000 times. It took me like 7 times watching that movie to actually get through it without falling asleep. Okay, It is the most boring, idiotic movie in the history of fucking movies. The most oversold hunk of steaming motherfucking shit I ever watched. I was just like, what the fuck happened to this movie? Take me back to the monkeys. I mean, I kept waiting for the monkeys. Please, bring the monkeys back into the movie so there's a movie again, because this sucks.
No, I'm sure underneath the desk where you sit, there's like a stack of 2001 DVDs, Blu-rays that you send out to your people for Christmas.
Clockwork Orange was goddamn, that's like, it's like TJ wrote that movie. Okay, I mean it's a.
Well, wait a minute. You're attacking Clockwork Orange now?
Yeah, Clockwork.
No, you gotta be kidding me. You don't like that one?
Look, I'll say nothing more. Okay, it's a movie.
I could see 2001, but Clockwork Orange, come on, dude.
It's a movie everybody has to see. Everybody needs to understand the concept of reconditioning and all that kind of stuff. But the way they made that movie, I thought was just.
Which one, Clockwork or 2001?
They went way too far up the anal canal or whatever you want to. They just went way further than they need to go to make the argument.
Man, you're just a diehard curmudgeon contrarian.
Clockwork Orange is the movie version of every point that you've been making in the last 15 minutes. It's people fucking people over, and then there's this reconditioning, right? And it doesn't fucking work. At the end of the movie, he's supposed to be cured, right? He's supposed to be a good member of society, and he's happy because he realizes I can continue to fuck people over. It's brilliant. Like, it's a character that never goes anywhere. He starts in one spot, he has his whole arc, and he ends in the same spot. It's everything that you've been arguing, this whole, like, last 15, 20-minute conversation. It's brilliant.
Well, yeah, and it's basically also pointing out that you're basically fucking yourself in the end, right? Because he's basically, you go from being perpetrator to being victim. And it's just this cycle of perpetrator-victim, perpetrator-victim. It's all one fucking thing in the end, okay? You fuck, and then you get fucked.
But the brilliance of Kubrick is if you've read the Anthony Burgess novel, at the end of the book that the movie's based on, Alex DeLarge is reformed. He goes on to live a normal life and have kids and shit. And Kubrick said, "Fuck that. That's not the way human beings work." and he completely retconned the end of that movie to make it like what human beings actually are.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah, I guess the guy who wrote the book must be a little pissed off. He's probably dead and all that stuff. But yeah, yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, that is a whole different take on it, and the whole revenge element of it. Oh yeah, just a lot of nasty stuff. So look, I don't, I'm just saying, yeah, it's a really interesting movie. Blah 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 blah. I'm just saying, I didn't personally enjoy it. So I'm just saying, I'm pleased I saw it. I'm glad I saw it. But I'm just saying, I didn't like watching it. Something like that, anyway. So
It's
we have
just
to.
it's just a nobody changes movie. That's all it is.
Well, I know, but it's more than nobody changes. I mean, it is it's not even an animal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the human perversion, taken to an extreme. It's because it's not even like animals don't even do this. This is, it's not just being ignorant. It's being double ignorant or ignorant squared or some other kind of.
Sorry, I don't know what the point. What's the point here? I mean, you're saying, God damn it. Sorry about that. Ad popped up. When you say we're being ignorant, what?
Well, I'm just saying,
I'm sorry.
animals sit there and singing in the rain, okay, when they eat their dinner. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't kill the other animals and do, I'm singing in the rain as I kick you in the face and bust your face open, blah, blah. They're not enjoying, they're just doing some sort of natural thing, and animals wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy the violence. I'm going to enjoy or wallow in some kind of act that I know is horrible. That kind of thing. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I guess I missed the pre-context. I mean, what argument, hopefully it wasn't me, what argument was somebody making saying that was what animals would be thinking?
Nobody was saying that. I was saying that. I'm just making the point that this is not a profile of anything. I mean, it's just a double. It's a perversion that's just beyond what humans. Even I don't like. Frankenstein's monster doesn't even do that, right? I mean, Frankenstein's monster doesn't even isn't sadistic.
Yeah,
So,
but you can extrapolate it out. The violence is just a narrative device in that movie. You can extrapolate it out to the people that are, raping the financial system, right? They're doing just as much damage as Alex did in that movie. In fact, I'd argue they're doing more, and they're doing it pathologically.
They are Alex's. Those that the Goldman Sachs and the J.P. Morgans and the Citibanks. That is Alex as CEO and vice president and C-suite.
I'm just saying that, yeah, you can metaphor it also.
That's a thin. It's barely a thin metaphor. It's fucking accurate. That is Alex. Jamie Dimon is Alex.
All right. Well, I'm just saying I don't think it is quite the same because obviously there's a layer of a veneer or something of what you're calling ignorance. Okay, and I'm just saying his ignorance was not. It was not. The problem wasn't ignorance. It's not like he didn't know raping women was bad. Okay, so it was he didn't care. And so I'd say that would be a difference. Where I'd say these other circumstances are people being stupid than people being evil. But that's sort of a meaningless distinction.
Yeah, it is. It is really a meaningless distinction because I mean, if you know something is bad and you go ahead and do it anyways, I mean, what are we supposed to think?
Well, I mean, obviously, though, the Goldman Sachs and the rest of these people, okay, they have a veneer of bullshit where they're saying they're being productive capitalists, okay, that they're making civilization. So they have a lie they're telling themselves. They're not saying I'm raping.
I don't know that you're correct about that. I think they're a little bit more insidious than you give them credit for.
Agreed.
Like that may be the face that they're showing the world. Kind of like Alex's droogs being cops, right? Cops are upstanding members of society, right? They're still bullies and they're still fucking scumbags.
Yeah, well, I don't know how far to push the point, but I guess I'm just saying that I think there is that veneer of perception of some sort of non-crime. I mean, they've neutralized the crime through a perception of earning, an accomplishment, and it's for the best, you know.
Well, I don't understand massive group mobilizations like Occupy Wall Street, right? Like, why the fuck couldn't they come up with an agenda? I mean, me sitting down with a one or at most 2 cups of coffee, I can come up with a PowerPoint with a number of talking points that would be the starter agenda and platform with a new American political party that says as follows, everybody who is mentally and physically capable of having a job should have one. What's so fucking difficult about that?
I know, but as soon as you write a platform, you'll start offending people, so that's why they didn't do it. And secondly, these guys weren't out to change.
Are you being ironic or are you being serious, Gary? I mean, who cares about who's offending who?
Really sucks. And it'd be nice if you let me finish my goddamn point.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
These guys they weren't political scientists who were coming up with some strategy to save the world, okay? These are guys with their own ego agenda, okay? So let's get serious. They didn't think this thing out. They just said, let's see if we can make some noise. And then it worked out. It's like Obama. You think Obama was ready to be president of the United States? Do you think Obama sat around for 5 years saying, I'm going to dedicate myself to a plan and I'm going to become president and I'm going to... No, he didn't do shit, okay? He picked up the old DNC game book and said, is there anything in here I can use? And but he had no clue. He had no agenda. He just wanted a painting on the wall. I'm a president. Yay, my paintings are going to be on the wall. But that's it. There's no plan. Fuck, the plan is ego. I'm president and you're not. I'm president and you're not. Nah, 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 nah.
Let me just say something really controversial here really quick. Occupy Wall Street was effective and successful.
In what ways?
All right. So if and you know what, you might think this is trite and silly, but if I were to say in this room the 99% or the 1%, everybody in this room knows what I'm talking about. They introduced the idea of this massive wealth disparity in this country in a way that everybody that's heard of Occupy Wall Street understands. So at the very least, they accomplished that.
That is a good point, Paul. I never thought about it quite that way, but yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Okay, I grant you that point.
I don't think anybody's missing that vote. So, but I just don't see how it's gonna.
But I mean, the thing is, these you had.
What's wrong with your mic? Can you do something about that? Plug it in. Try plugging it in all the way.
All right, I'm sorry, Gary. Go ahead.
No, I mean your mic is horrible. No, I mean it's not that difficult to like you just said. You could write up you could have some kind of rational agenda, and I just don't think that the masses have already known they're getting screwed. They're not voting. They've been not voting for quite a while. A good percentage of the progressives gave up a long time ago, and this it's all a pretty discouraging story. And the fact that we don't have any way to do anything about it is even more discouraging, right? And then we elect a Democrat who's basically Ronald Reagan. I mean, Ronald Reagan is now a Democrat and he's black. I mean, who saw that coming?
I kind of did.
Yeah, well, I sure did. I tell you the truth, I didn't. I was like, no, this isn't right. Something's broken here. I mean, this is, talk about going the wrong way. So now we got a choice. The Republicans basically bought out the Democratic Party. So now we got a choice between Republican and Republican. So wow, that's really cool. Not.
Well, I mean, the whole thing about the 99% is the same thing that happened in the French Revolution. I mean, it was this idea that the 99% of the population really had all of the power, but then even they ended up fucking it all up anyway.
Well, they didn't fuck it all up, actually. They didn't fuck it all up. I mean, the king, they cut his head off, and there was no more king, and so that was really cool. So they got rid of that shit. So even if they fucked it up
But they elected a new king instead, Gary.
well,
They elected fucking Robespierre instead.
A fucking goddamn king who says he owns you for no good reason. So I'd say a democracy is a hell of an advance. So I'd say that's a huge win.
Robespierre said the exact same thing. Exactly. They worshipped Robespierre after they cut off the king's head and his wife's.
Right, so I'm just saying, what's wrong with that? Because at least it's earned.
The whole
revolutions are sometimes bloody. Well, actually, I mean they're all the times bloody. What am I saying?
Pendulum.
The exact same thing anyway, in my opinion.
Well, I don't
think what Robespierre did to France was no different than what the king.
It's a silly argument, okay? It's a silly fucking argument because France obviously is what it is today because of that change. So I'm just saying, yeah, okay, they wiped out a bunch of people who weren't all that guilty. Well, that's the pendulum swing shit. That's going to happen. They went too far, blah, 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 blah. But I'm just saying, 50 years down the road, they're far better off than they were 50 years before. So I'm just saying, getting rid of the whole monarchy was a huge boom for France.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but where is America today? It's the exact same bullshit kind of corporate feudalism.
Yeah, well, we all sold out. We all voted for Ronald Reagan, like I said. So, yeah, we voted to be owned again. That's right. We voted to be slaves to, you know, the let's lower the minimum wage. Yeah, that'll make everybody.
No, I got to disagree with you there, and I'm sorry if tiny chat lag gets in the way. I don't think we voted to be feudal corporatist slaves. I hate using this word. The powers that be, God help me. I think they were supreme architects in getting us to be corporatist slaves. I don't think we voted for it at all. So I got to agree with. I have to disagree with you on that one.
I was alive then, and I saw it. So I guess you can say we didn't, but we did. Okay, so go ahead and say we didn't, but we did. Anybody who said, I mean, remember Walter Mondale? You know, okay, he ran saying, oh yeah, we got this deficit problem, and we actually pay the bills, and we actually da-da-da-da, and what he got resoundingly crushed. So let's not pretend that people wanted the truth. They didn't want the truth. They wanted the fairy tale that the rich people will make us richer. Let's float all the boats. Let's make the entire Atlantic Ocean rise. I mean,
to bring it back real quick to the whole 99% and 1% thing, it's kind of what you're talking about doing with these agree-disagree videos. It's a simplification. Yeah, a lot of people knew that the man was fucking them, you know, before It's not like they introduced the idea, but they presented it in a simplified way that people have resoundingly embraced. Like, everybody knows what you're talking about when you say it, and that's something. That's at least something.
I know, but don't you think that that's getting caught up in a lot of this, like Ron Paul, it's the Fed, or it's the bankers, or, you know, they're still not getting it. And if you say something like, well, let's tax inheritance, right? They still don't want to do that, right? So because they all think they're going to be billionaires. So all these people who say, okay, yeah, I'm one of the exploited, they all want to be part of that 1%, or they want to be part of the top 5%. They all think they're going to win the lottery, And they want to make sure that when they win the lottery, they can be motherfuckers like the rich are now. So it's not they're against being rich. They're just against somebody else being rich. You know, they're all for them being rich. You know, they like the idea. They like thinking about them being rich, right?
Yeah,
If they win,
wait. I mean,
you know, I don't want to be paying no fucking taxes if I win the lottery. Yeah, right.
I mean, Gary, can we just get a point of clarification here? Who is that? Oh, well, he stepped away from his chair. I was just about to ask, who is that accusatory finger pointed at? But he's off to take a leak or something. So, guess we'll have to wait with some. Anybody got some elevator music?
Could put on some Vivaldi or something. That's what I kind of like about Gary. He's so sweet. He's not afraid to ban people. Some people just don't contribute anything. Yeah, I do like Gary a lot.
This room's a room with a bunch of depressed people in it talking about antinatalism. No one contributes anything to anything. Just
Oh,
here
that
to
is
have
true
a chat,
case
and then you
of
make it
material.
sound like you're doing something productive.
Yeah, you're right. And what are
Serious.
you doing? Hey, what are you doing that's so productive, Happy?
Nothing, but I'm not a hypocrite
Nothing,
about it.
Well,
I'm happy
you're in
to
here.
admit that I'm here to do nothing. You lot think you're here to do something, but you're not.
What's more?
Wait,
What's more productive? Having a conversation with intelligent people, or coming in and shitting on people that are having a conversation with intelligent people when you admit that you yourself are doing nothing?
How about pretending to be an intelligent person when you're not?
Wait, no, Cases of Materials is kind of right
Does
about
that
this
count
shit.
for something?
I mean,
No, it
Hey,
counts
Gary!
it counts for a little
I
more
realize
than
it kind of means nothing in the end of the day, and I mean, he just doesn't give a shit. Like the universe doesn't give a shit.
I love you, Gary.
Yes. Yeah, it's like I haven't heard that before. Yeah, right before I
Yeah,
get
but Cases, you're still an asshole. Just fuck you.
Yeah, whatever. Everybody already knows that, just like we all know about the 99.1% thing. Yeah, troll's a troll is a troll is a troll. He's a troll. So what? DNA guy, you have some sort of something you were whining about. I could hear you complaining that Gary left. Yeah, I had to get something to drink. It's still cooking, actually.
No, I wasn't whining. 3 generations of conversations have happened since you left to go to the bathroom, so I don't want to recap them. Let's just start afresh, shall we?
I don't know, but okay, fine. I'm gonna go. I'll be back. Hey, wayward guy! Yay!
You just had a bathroom break. What do you mean you're gonna go?
Well, I have to go. I didn't go. Went to go make me something to drink. So I had to put in the microwave, you know?
Damn.
Damn.
All right.
It's a pretty intense drink, Gary.
Huh?
I've never had a drink that I had to put into a microwave, to be honest.
Yeah, well, coffee, you know.
You can microwave tea, but it's not as good as if you boil it in a kettle.
Yeah, well, I drink soup every now and then, too, so that's I put in the microwave, soup, drink, soup, thing. But whatever, it's not really that important. The point is I can still hear you usually when I leave. I can still hear you, so usually you should just assume if I leave without saying anything, it just means I can still hear you. Go ahead and talk.
But you didn't hear the last 3 minutes, did you? Got you. Gotcha, motherfucker.
I
Harry,
heard.
you're letting your subordinates get out of control here, calling you a motherfucker.
Yeah, well, I'm not too worried about
You're
that.
stronger than this.
I'm not too worried about that.
Oh,
Can I
God.
call you a motherfucker too?
Happy has a hard-on for me like you wouldn't believe. He's got like a 10-foot hard-on.
No, it's scary. He's got a hard-on for.
I don't know.
He asked me,
I
I
would
think
like
a whole lot of you are gay,
like my sister.
except maybe
It's
the
the
government
same-
That's how much
woman.
you called
It's the same guy who comes in like every other night to troll.
Yeah, I think he's got one of those gooey vaginas. I don't think it's a hard-on. But whatever. It's the guy that did the dresses in drag and stuff. Come on.
Really?
Anyway.
He dresses in drag?
Yeah,
I did
with
that
really
once.
really big breasts. Really
Coming from a man that
video of him
dance
with
nude
lips
with his
on.
tiny little penis between his legs. Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
Really? You dress in drag? I didn't know that.
It's not
He
exactly
put on
drag.
lipstick.
And
Okay,
look,
I put on lipstick. Big
and
deal.
look, he has a pro account too, so he pays for coming into rooms and talking about
Oh.
people's tiny penises.
I have
Oh, that's how
friends
much
that
money
pay
it
for this
is.
pro account. It's not mine.
Why would
It
you
belongs
pay
to
for
my
a tiny chat
friends that
account?
pay
What-
for
Why
it.
would you
what
do
kind of-
that?
What kind of issues do you got psychologically that you need to feel the need to
Whatever.
dress in drag?
Do this. What kind of? As soon as you start a thing like that, what kind of issues do you have psychologically? Do you think that goes anywhere on the internet? I mean, that is like the stupidest thing, the stupidest premise statement you could ever make. Is, oh, let's talk about your psychiatric issues. You're on the internet, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Gary, when you're
Everyone
right,
on the
you're right.
internet has psychological
When you're hot,
issues.
you're hot.
Oh, you're such good little bitches. You all know your place.
All right, shut up. We got to talk about meaningful shit now.
Well, I don't think there
We all
is.
know
always
you
do.
paid pro for a tiny chat account, so don't talk about
That's
our
your
issues.
douchebag. It
All
belongs
right,
to
this
another
guy-
chat room. You idiots.
Now's a good time to
Why
go
would
to
I
the
call
Yeah,
bathroom.
you
myself
paid for
Spa
it, didn't
Pro?
you?
Yes, I paid for it.
You
Okay,
paid
I
for it
paid
like
for
a
it.
You
Yes,
fool!
for-
You rapscallion!
Well, he paid for it with his Rothschild money, so it's okay. Okay, he's got a bunch of Rothschild money, so he doesn't have to worry about that kind of shit.
Oh.
Yeah, his parents' allowance.
No, poor little bitches.
Yeah, well, exactly. Never, whatever. Well, whatever. And moving on, or around. Damn it.
Moving on.
This whole idea of the political party thing does intrigue me, because it's like, I did look up the Progressive Party on, and it was just kind of funny that the name was used a couple of times and the party completely failed. But it's like it's still out there, go ahead and I can go grab the name, the Progressive Party, and maybe start over. But yeah, we really need a decent third party.
Maybe you could start the anti-natalist party, Gary.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go with that one. That's obviously not going to be a big winner. So yeah, I think I'll start off with the, let's try to be human beings first party, maybe. Be a human being.
I have a
fuck
better
it.
hairline than you, Cases and Materials. And my hairline sucks.
Please don't flirt with me. It makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it
Sorry.
doesn't matter anyway.
Okay.
His cases is getting kind of fat, though. I did notice he's getting kind of fat.
And you're getting old and wrinkly. You'll die before me, old man.
Just saying, you're looking kind of fat. I mean, I'm just saying, I just noticed and stuff like that.
He's not fat. He's pudgy. That's not the same as fat.
Yeah, let's be honest here. I work
Pudgy
hard to
people
be
are
fat.
pretty cute.
And I don't like it when not fat people are called fat, because it is not easy to be fat.
Aye.
Oh, Gary, that backfired.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm not comparing you to Cases and Materials.
I'm glad that this high-minded philosophical conversation has devolved into tissues of adipose. That really is it's the high point of the evening.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
all more interesting.
We need to troll the troll.
Yes, troll me, come on.
It's not easy to not get a little bit pudgy when you're surrounded with so much chocolate and Belgian waffles.
Look.
Yeah, he does have some Belgian chocolate.
What you don't understand. Okay, here let me dissect and recapitulate the psychology of this happy guy. Wait, no, you got to hear this. He's got
Phone in, pull your microphone out, plug your microphone back in, okay? It's full of...
Let him talk,
Yes,
Gary.
Batman. Do what he said.
His DNA is pretty smart.
Be a good little bitch.
This guy...
Ah, jeez. Still working on it. Could probably put the mute button on when you're fixing your microphone, but whatever. Don't want to make it too complicated for you. Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything else we have to say about the super rich. But yeah, the real numbers are just horrendous, right? I mean, the top 1% in America, right? They own 45% of everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would be so easy for the Occupy Wall Street crowd, or let's just succinctly narrow it down to Occupy. From heretofore, we'll call it the Occupy crowd. It would have been so easy for the Occupy crowd just to draft a platform, some basic fucking principles, right? Basic fucking principles. Anybody who is mentally and physically capable of working should have a right to a job.
They did.
No, they don't. No, they don't. There's millions of people. There's millions of people in this country who don't have jobs, who should have jobs, and are perfectly qualified of having those jobs. Thanks to and fuck the H-1B visa program. Fuck that up the ass. Number one.
Why are we so like? I mean, I understand that unemployment is a problem, but why are we so hyper focused on this? Like, let's get more people working in the fucking cubicles. Like, why does that need to be first and forefront on the fucking platform?
Well, I mean, ultimately, okay. I mean, there's stratification of this argument, and I mean, you're at like Gary's level. Gary's level of stratification is like tier 1. I'm talking about down like tier 3 or 4, you know, getting everybody fully employed. But Gary's level, which is tier 1, is, yeah, in the whole fucking game, and that is the right fucking answer. But I'm talking about a tiered strategy to get to tier 1. Does that make sense?
I don't think that's a counter argument to his point, though, that the idea of working when the jobs aren't productive are meaningful, are, you know, at all necessary. What's the value in that either? Okay, I mean, more jobs as paper pushers and shysters and crooks isn't going.
No, it's not. No, and I mean, A, you're right. B, you're right. C, you're right. I mean, more jobs as paper pushers, as middle management, project managers, and program managers, and product managers, and...
Just shut for a minute. All right, so the basic equation is that 2% of the people have more than half the money. So we can make everybody twice as rich, or we could give them all, let them work half as much. So you could work half as much, and we could give all the unemployed people the other half of your job for the money that those rich people possess. So we just take the money from them and give it to everybody else, the wealth. Okay, it's not even the money, it's not the income, it's the wealth, ownership. They already need a lot of ambition rent.
It's not. Right. Obviously, you can hear me because you're responding to me.
It's terrible,
I can hear
idiot.
horrible, awful.
All right, I'll go to fucking Radio Shack tomorrow and buy a new fucking microphone. Now, finish your point.
Just pretty crackly, Subdina.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to explain to you.
No,
It's obnoxious,
I'm
okay?
sure.
I mean,
I'm sure.
okay, I mean, if a fucking dog shits in my face, I'm going to say it sucks. It was something like that anyway.
How's this? A little better?
I don't know yet. Organized crime, and they will kill you if you fuck with them.
I just think, given the current truth of the world, deunionization right now fixes absolutely fucking nothing. Like, I'll agree, unions are corrupt and have been largely marginalized. At least the smaller unions have. But I don't really see what the benefit of deunionization would be in the current climate.
I just don't see them as having any value in terms of fighting for anything real anymore. I mean, the ones that have power are completely self-interested, and they're completely manipulative. Okay, I mean, teachers are fighting. Teachers are fighting for preposterous rights. I mean, I want the right to molest your kids, and you still can't fire me. I mean, fuck you, you asshole. I mean, it's just such bullshit. You know, the crap we're being extorted into accepting because they're blackmailing us.
You know what, I'm a member of a union. I'm a public employee. I work for a school district. I'm a member of a a classified public union. And because of that, I have a job where I get paid basically a living wage, and I can go to the doctor when I get sick. And if I didn't have that union, I'd be working a McDonald's job.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that I think these are rights that everybody should have as human beings. So I'm just saying the basic right to be paid for your labor, in my opinion, should be a basic fundamental constitutional right, not a right that only extortionists are allowed. So I'm just saying I don't like the idea of unions where, depending on what job you have power, and if you have another kind of job, you don't have power. That's the part I say is bullshit, right? So, I mean, you have the power of extortion, and I don't like it being extorted. So I guess that's all I'm saying is that jobs where obviously it's too expensive to fire you, that's just kind of bullshit, right? That's not a bargaining chip that's reasonable. It's an unreasonable bargaining chip. We will make you go broke if you don't pay us. I mean, that's kind of bullshit, right? So I'm just saying I don't like the tactics of unions, and I'd rather do the union thing through the Constitution.
No, I agree. I would be right in line for abolishing unions if there was a fucking chance of constitutionalizing a living wage and the right of everyone to see a doctor if they need to see a fucking doctor. But I don't see that as a possibility. And so what unions do, and I think what a lot of people don't like about unions, is that they play the game, right? Because what is the game? These 1-2%, they're extorting everybody, right? So what do unions do? They use numbers to extort right back. It's the best we can do under the current system, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just think it creates so much waste that's the part I just don't like about it. I mean, it's so much waste and inefficiency in this extortion process and in this bargaining process, and it's all these extra lawyers, all this extra bullshit, all this, and we're not getting any value for it, and certainly from the teachers union, I'm saying we're not getting any value. I mean, we got teachers in this district, 90 years old, collecting 130 grand a year for teaching grammar school, just because they've been doing it for 50 fucking years. So they get an automatic salary increase, even though they're doing the same job we could hire a fucking 20-year-old to do, right? And they're getting paid 14 times more? Why should they be paid 14 times as much as a 20-year-old?
I get what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, and I do think that teachers' unions in particular are kind of broken. But I think that in a world where, like you said, 2% of people own half of fucking everything, and we're wringing our hands over teachers being paid well, I mean, come on. Like, let's put this in perspective here. Like, who fucking cares if a teacher's making 150 grand? In the grand scheme of things, like, what's the downside to that in a world where 2% of people own half of everything?
Well, I guess the downside is just depends on how you're paying for it. And in this state, you pay for it through property taxes, and so you get taxed out of your house. You know, so that's the tricky part. Is it gets, you know, you can't live if you got to, you know. This town, the average property tax bill is 10 grand. You know, it's a lot of money for somebody. Let's say you bought a house here 50 years ago as a middle-class person, and you only have Social Security to live on. You're out of luck. You're going to have to sell your house and move because you can't pay the property taxes.
Well, doesn't that bring us right back to the beginning, though? It's like, okay, I agree. The fact that we balance that wage on the backs of people who are ostensibly already poor is the problem. It's time to eat the fucking rich. It's time for them to start paying their fair share. If it was rich fucks paying an 80% tax bracket for teachers, I don't think anybody in this room would have a problem with a teacher making 150 grand. They went to fucking college. They're doing something that, you know, I'm jaded as fuck, just like everybody else in the room, but it is important, right? Teaching children is an important fucking thing.
I wouldn't put it at a top 5% salary. So if you're talking about 150 grand, you're talking about a top 5% salary. So that is a little bit high for, in my opinion, for, you know, a glorified babysitter. And I certainly don't, you know, I have a whole negative opinion about the whole industrial teaching complex anyway, where I would rather pay kids than pay teachers. But that's a whole other subject. But just taking your point, yeah, I'll concede your point. Is quite obviously, yeah, I think if we took all these resources, we could put huge incentive carrots in front of people where they could get paid a real living, you know, to collect garbage and do all these regular things that are real work. You know, you do real work, you get paid a real salary. And that's the way it should be. So we should be paying people to be productive, not paying people to sit on their ass. And so that's, you know, I mean, yeah, I'm in complete agreement that there's absolutely no incentive to keep the rich. There's no incentive to keep monarchy, and we essentially have created a new nobility, and that nobility is toxic.
Yeah, the whole education thing is a hot button topic for me because people are correct about the problems, but there are a lot of people that have a lot of misconceptions about teaching. Like teachers, like I said, I'm a classified employee, so I work on computers in my school district. That's my job, and teachers are there before I'm there, and they leave after I leave by a good margin. So it's not, and not every teacher is that way, but there are a lot of really, really hardworking people that are working in a system that's fucked up, but they're trying to help kids. Like their hearts are in a genuinely good place with it. And I think all teachers get lumped into this kind of leech moniker that we like to throw around, and it's not true, not 100%, and it is broken. The education system is broken. The industrialized education system that you were talking about
Yeah, well, I
is
wouldn't even
broken.
say that they're leeches. I'm just saying that they're way overpaid and way overprotected. I mean, this whole idea of tenure and all this other nonsense. So I'm just saying they're not playing the same competitive game that the rest of us are obliged to play. All right? I mean, even as a skilled, let's say if I was a skilled mechanic, I don't have the bargaining power that teachers have, you know, which is kind of silly, right, in my opinion.
Right.
In terms of...
No, I agree. I agree with you on that, but I'm more of along the lines of, instead of attacking the teachers and saying let's strip this from the teachers, let's give it to everybody. let's look at that as the benchmark and say, let's bring everybody up to that benchmark where everybody has that same protection.
Yeah, well, like I say, I'm all for that. I'm just more for, you know, incentivizing more productive work. And like I said, and when it comes to educating kids, I just think it'd be better to pay the kids to just put a bounty on education. So, you know, if we put a bounty on, you know, getting a high school passing a GED, and said to a kid that you get 70 grand if you pass a GED, because that's, you know, the average kid costs 150,000. So if we just cut and said, okay, we'll give you 70 grand to pass an equivalency test. I think you get all those kids in Chicago that are playing basketball now, I think you get them to say, hey, I'm going to learn how to pass that fucking test, because 70 grand buys me a lot of cocaine, you know.
Yeah. That's the fucking problem. Is you're talking about incentivizing productive labor. What are the kids of this generation going to do with 70 grand? They're going to buy Dr. Dre Beats headphones.
Yeah, I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, I really think that when they get this whole idea that they're going to earn it, you know, they're going to earn it, and you know, they can buy themselves a house, they can buy the hunk of this American dream bullshit. I think some of that's going to happen. I mean, I don't know what percentage, but I think it's going to happen. And they're going to see other people buying themselves out of poverty, and they're going to see some kind of value in that. So I just see it as all good. I'm just saying that I think that that's a much better incentive than this idea of, I think it's just this classical old, let's shove the information into kids' brains is stupid. And I think you've got to make them hungry for it. And so that's the way I...
I'm 100% with you on that. We're educating kids using a pre-industrial model that needs to be torn down and rebuilt from the ground up. So I'm 100% with you on that.
You should be teaching kids like basics, like how to grow food and how to make their own clothing and things like that. I honestly think that that kind of stuff has a place.
I don't think that's too useful. You don't get all the way to 2013 to, you know, oh, I'm going to go out and club me some dinosaurs, and, you know, and make their claws into, like, toothpicks. You know, no, you're not going to do that. It's 2013.
No,
come on.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
We have textiles that we can make where we don't actually have to kill animals in order to make clothing.
I know you can make clothing out of cotton. I mean, cotton's really works really well, and nylon you don't kill any animals for either. I'm just saying that I don't see any point in going too holistic or too backward. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with technology per se. There's certainly wrong the way we're doing it, but I'm just saying that, yeah, I don't think that's where kids need to be educated. I think kids need to have some sort of, we got to make it, you know, we got to put instead of American Idol, you know, it's got to be American Scientist or something. We got to make it cool to be smart, you know, and we just don't. And it's just, that is a huge cultural failure, you know, that we do not make heroes out of smart people. I mean, that's just plain fucking stupid.
Well, I mean, to bring it all full circle here, though, what's the incentive for a kid to work hard and do well in school so that they can work a fucking job that they hate like their parents did? You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem. It all comes full circle once again, as you're put in this position of having this workforce where these jobs are just soul-crushing horse shit. And why would I as a child give a fuck about doing well on a test so that I can go work at a factory or go fucking push pencils for a living?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think we need to be scientists. We need to be doing really interesting work instead of uninteresting work. And obviously some portion of us has to be willing to do the street cleaning. There's always going to be people like me who are willing to do it. And, you know, just pay me enough, and I don't mind doing the shitty work. But I'm just saying that once you're part of a civilization that's actually doing something, I think everybody could feel a lot better about all this shit. If we felt like we're on the same boat, and that we're plugging holes in the boat for all of us and all that kind of shit, but we don't. We're all fighting against each other. We're not even considering each other. You know, people are just way too uninvested. You You know, they have national pride, but they don't have any national respect. They don't have any respect for the human beings that are their nation. I mean, I'd just like to be part of a civilization. You know, something called civilization. And like, I'd be a member of the civilization. And I don't care what you call it. You don't have to give it a name. But yeah, just the idea of like, if I could feel like, oh, I clean the street and the civilization is grateful. And, you know, but you know what I mean? It's like we have no incentive to give a fuck. And that's just sucks.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go cry.
Yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. Yeah, go have a cry. Yeah, don't do it in this room though, sissy. Fucking girly
Yeah.
man.
If I
Yeah.
feel a tear coming on, I'll log off. I won't subject you to a fat man blubbering.
Yeah, sissy shit in here. We're all rough, tough men. Except for that chick. Well, whatever it is. Dave guy. He's got legs. Yeah. And he knows how to sort of show them a little bit mostly.
I think she's a chick because the titties came out at one point, very briefly. But
Oh,
they
okay.
did.
Well, that's you know, she-male or something maybe. But whatever it is, fine. It's good. I like it. Legs is one of my favorite things.
Well, they're coming out again. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if they're real at all, though, right? Whoops! That was really funny.
Oh.
That was pretty good. That was pretty
no.
funny, right? I think that was really. I mean, I did sort of predict it, right? I mean, yeah. I don't think they're real. When it falls off, that was pretty good.
You've got a sixth sense for that shit. I bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, that was really good. I called that one. No. Thank you. That was fun.
I know. Now I'm all confused. I was all aroused, and now I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, well, you got something else to cry about. You can make a list. Yeah. My crying list. This guy's kickboxing over here has got me pretty upset. Oh, he's ninja. Oh, it's ninja. Okay, I get it. I'm Ninja Man. Practicing for the third party. This will get you a high place in the third party if you have a little ninja thing going. What was that guy's name? That rich guy. Remember that rich guy with the who ran that one time? What the hell was his name?
Ross Perot?
Oh yeah, yeah, right. He went all kind of wacky. You know, he's almost president of the United States, and he starts talking about like a bunch of ninjas showed up and disrupted my daughter's wedding. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, you crazy fuck? Ninjas? You know what?
The sad thing is I don't know if we dodged a bullet or missed an opportunity on that one.
Yeah, it is ironic. He had a couple of, well, the deficit thing's always been an issue for me. I always hated this deficit spending shit, so I didn't care how you fixed it. I just didn't want it, you know. I just saw no way out of that. I just didn't see that. The whole idea of rent always bothered me. You know, and that just has rent written all over it. Like, oh yeah, the government's not going to buy anything, it's just going to rent shit. Oh, well, that doesn't sound like a good idea. You know, it's like we rented going to the moon. You know, we're still paying for it. You know. Oh yeah, you know that car up on the moon? Yeah, well it's cost $7,684,000 now. You know, we're still paying rent on it. You know those tanks in World War II? Yeah, well each one cost about $18,674,433. You know, but you're still paying for those too. Yeah, well, they don't matter to you. As long as you're the poor person, they don't matter. That's for sure. They sure matter to the rich, because that's how they get richer. But it's all going to get ugly when the stock market crashes and everybody gets unemployed. Oh, it's going to be horrible. And then it'll be too late to fix anything. They'll have to dig up
Mad
Rosa.
Max, bitch.
What?
Mad Max, bitch.
Yeah, something like that. But that doesn't look like much fun either, eating dog food and shit. Who the hell wants to do that? Radioactive dog food.
Well, eating dog food and glad to get it, and your fucking dog licks up the scraps of the dog food in the can.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's probably not as glamorous as it looks, right? Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, glamorous. Glamorous is not the first word that comes to mind.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that Mad Max is as bad as it gets. You know, we all get dune buggies, and Tina Turner, presides over some fights in the Thunderdome. Like, compared to what could happen, that doesn't sound too bad.
Well, Gary would probably do pretty well. Tina Turner would look at him and go, "You ain't nothing but a raggedy man."
Yeah, I don't know if I want a job in the methane farm though, right? I mean, it didn't look too good in the underworld down there. Yeah, that didn't look.
You'd have pee spray painted on your chest. Pig killer.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Yeah, I don't know if I want that job.
No, but seriously, I mean, the fucking oil is running out. I mean, you'd have to be a pituitary retard not to realize the fucking oil is running out, and it's gone, baby. I mean, the International Energy Agency in France, said that we peaked in 2006. So.
No, but oil isn't what runs the world, and we already know that.
Whoa, wait. Oil isn't what runs the world. What does?
Well, I was just going to point out that the fact is people that don't have any conscience, okay? So, and number one, we know that we have natural gas, and we also know we have a ton of coal, and so we know China's burning the coal.
Okay.
So we know that game's already over.
So we'll burn coal into oblivion, into global warming oblivion until there's no fucking ice caps left, and the ice caps are already fucking melting. So yeah, that's a good fucking solution.
Yeah, no, we're totally fucked, and so it's just going to get it's going to get more and more expensive. But the bright side is the economic collapse means all the factories close, so no one's going to be burning oil or to bake potato chips anymore. No one's going to be burning oil to do all this other shit. So yeah, we'll save a huge amount of fuel because no one will have any money to buy gas anyway. So in that sense, we'll have another extra 100 years of oil because yeah, all of the economies are going to crash.
That's good. Thanks, Gary. Thanks for cluing me into the bright side.
Yeah, well, when you got 14 cents, when you're making 14 cents a week, it's just really not gonna, you're not gonna have to worry about how to fill the gas tank because that's gonna be the least of your trouble.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where I just hope that I keel over and croak before it all happens. I leave no children in my wake, and I'm gone and don't give a fuck anyway.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight too hard, that's for sure. I'm not going to fight for living, but yeah, I'll gracefully slide out when things, when the zombie war gets bad. But yeah, you figure if you live next to a big city, that's you're really just going to you're going to have to leave town because it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, or next to or in of. I mean, 4 million people live in the island of Manhattan. How the fuck are those people gonna sustain themselves? Everything that they have or know or breathe or digest comes from outside themselves. It's a total externality. Sorry, God damn it, externality clusterfuck. Where the fuck are they gonna get all that food to sustain themselves and energy and water?
Well, that's the trick, though, right? Is that's whether if we have a Roosevelt, in government, then they'll do something clever, like they'll nationalize a few things and just, they'll even tell people, look, you're gonna, whether you're making money or not on the farm, you're gonna grow shit because people gotta have food, and so they'll make sure the people have the minimum. So if they keep
Okay, yeah, but the difference is that when Roosevelt said that, I mean, there was, it was like 1 to 2, like one every person who lived in the cities. There were 2 every persons who lived in agriculture, and now it's like 1 to 26.
I know,
26.
Machines.
Obviously,
We
farmland
don't
is.
need 1,000 farm laborers anymore.
That's right, right. It's very efficient. Farming's very efficient. So I'm just,
Yeah.
the only point is that it won't be profitable. So the point is that the rich won't be able to make any money, and they'll want to shut everything down. And the government's going to have to make sure they're not allowed to do that. So it's going to have to keep the electricity flowing and keep the gas on and keep everything running because the rich are going to say, fuck you, I'm not getting paid.
The thing I don't get, here's the thing I don't get. I mean, right as we're on the verge of this Star Trekian, uh, uh, who was that guy who invented Star Trek? I don't know. Right as
Bradbury.
yeah,
But
right as not Bradbury, it was the other guy.
we're not even close to warp speed. But go ahead, go ahead.
Right as we're on the verge of this fucking vision of, okay, let me just, I'm not gonna go more than 30 seconds. We have roboticization. We have automation, right? And we can fucking automate a McDonald's. We can, well, we already have automated all our factories in Detroit and so on and so forth. So we don't need, we have roboticization. We don't need the same manual labor that we did like in the 1850s or 1920s. We have the mechanization and computerization to provide for large swaths of the human whatever you want to call it,
Someone's
humanity.
been watching the documentary called Home.
Oh, fuck
yes,
you! Fuck
we
you!
get it.
Just
No
let
one
me
cares.
complete my point, and then you can be as cynical as you want. Okay?
I know. Yeah, okay, get to it. You said 30 seconds, and you're a little past that, but go ahead.
All right. I went past the 30-second mark. We can achieve through roboticization and automation. We can provide for billions of people, but we don't. Why? Because the capitalist model says, if you don't work, you don't eat. Fuck you. Fuck you, slime balls. The robots are gonna make the top
Well, I don't know
1%
if that's
richer.
entirely true. I don't think that's entirely true. Obviously, we are doing exactly that for a bunch of welfare whores because they're blackmailing us with their kids. But yeah, I don't disagree that there's huge gains to this productivity thing, and all of it's gone to make the wealthy wealthier. So we haven't distributed the comforts and pleasantries. Obviously, both men and women. I mean, and now you have two-income families that aren't making enough money to pay the bills, which is hilarious, right? There are 2 people working and they still don't make enough money to pay the rent. So, I mean, that's obviously not working. We're back to this rich man, poor man thing again. Again, we're all against the waste of overpaying the rich. So yeah, let's quit overpaying the rich, and let's start fairly paying the working class first. I mean, that's the first thing I would take care of. I'm not too pleased with welfare on either end. I don't like the lazy rich, and I don't like the lazy poor, to tell you the truth. And I'd like to get rid of both of them.
We've
Right,
got
but
to.
I'm saying,
I think we've got to draw a line in the fucking sand, though. Like not that anything's gonna get accomplished anyway, but I don't think that we can continue to like shit on poor people and rich people. I think we need to like identify the enemy here, and let's worry about welfare whores down the line a piece. You know what I mean?
the enemy is unlimited wealth. Why do I need fucking 5 mansions? Why do I need 105 chandeliers in those 5 mansions? Why do I need 10 Learjets? Give me a break, man. There's a limit to capitalism.
Already did that. Yeah, he's against capitalism too. You know, but I mean, we all pay for that shit. So I'm just saying. I mean, you got to place. I mean, if I told you that, you know, half of your property tax burden was being created by people who don't work. Okay, you know, they make kids,
Okay,
but they don't.
Okay, I have an answer for that.
And then healthcare costs, and then half your healthcare premiums were
I
going
have
to
an answer for
subsidize
that.
people who don't work. I mean, there's a point where you say, yeah, this is starting to get kind of expensive. So I'm not saying we beat the shit out of them. I'm just saying that, you know, there is this idea that what's the fucking point of being a drug addict? I mean, fuck you.
And I can answer that. And the answer is anybody who's mentally and physically capable is entitled to a job. And here's the important Boolean part of the logical equation, and anybody who is mentally and physically capable of working must work.
No, I'm not for must work. I'm saying even pay them. I'm saying pay them 10 grand a year, but pay them not to have kids. Okay, give them welfare, but say don't create a burden on society. So look, I'll give you 12 grand a year to live in a hovel in Shitville for free, but don't be making no babies with the money.
They're gonna do it anyway, though, and see that's
well,
where you.
Sorry, but the socialist, the tyrannical socialist state steps in and says, I'm sorry, you had 1 baby, 1 man, you've got 1 birth credit. You're a man, you've got 1 birth credit. You're a woman, you've got 1 birth credit. Okay, you had 2 babies, that's it. You're done.
How do you enforce
You're done.
How do you enforce
fucking.
that?
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit how you enforce it? You fucking enforce it the way you enforce it.
Welfare
through
check.
abortions or however.
You want the 10
however
grand
the fuck you want to enforce it.
versus fertility, okay? So you had the 1 kid. If you want the welfare check, you're gonna have to get sterilized.
Okay, and so here's the question. You got these people, right? And the adults are the problem here, not the kids. The kids are innocent. The kids have no way of supporting themselves.
We all know that. Don't appeal to pathos. We all know that the kids are innocent.
What I'm saying is though, is that somebody says, "Fuck you, I'm gonna have kids anyway." So what do you do with the kids? They starve?
Well,
you call in CPS. I mean, you sterilize the parents. There's all kinds of counteractives.
You don't have an answer. I have the answer. Okay, I'm become famous for it. You make Disneyland orphanages. Okay, you make orphanages that so fucking kick ass that kids that have great parents want to go to the orphanage because it's so fucking cool. All right, and then you tell those parents to go to fucking hell. All right, you tell them you take care of your kids, you get a job, or you stop having kids. But these are your 2 choices, okay? Because we're taking the kids away from you if you don't take care of them. If you don't feed your kids and you don't protect your kids, fuck you, you're not keeping your kids.
And you're still but you're still subsidizing the behavior that you don't want. You're still now you've removed all responsibility from having children because the people know that, hey, I can pop out 5 million kids and they're just going to go to Disneyland.
No, that's not. It's not going to work out that way.
3 strikes and you're out. Okay, so I'm just saying you gave them the first kid. You paid them for their sterilization, before they had the second one, and then by the third one, you put them in fucking whatever prego prison, and you just say fuck
You don't have to put them in prego prison. You just sterilize them, and that's it. You're done. No more breeding.
You're going to prego prison, and you're going to knit booties for all the other kids.
You're going to prego. You're going to prego neutering camp. That's where you're going.
No,
Lord, you people are ridiculous.
Go to prison. Yeah, that's going to be your choice. You either go get neutered.
They don't have to go to prison. You just fucking sterilize them, and that's it. They're done.
They're safer there, okay? They're essentially retarded, so they should just go to the orphanage anyway, okay? But they should be kept away from dangerous objects like penises.
I mean, this is really a simple. This is really, in and of itself, it's a really simple conversation, but people just don't have the guts or the courage to deal with it.
Well, I'm just saying, it is expensive. I mean, it's not cheap, so we got to deal with it. I don't think you can just walk away from it and saying it's not a problem. I mean, most people in this country don't work. That's not good.
Well, that's not true. It's what's the unemployment percentage? It's
well, I mean, wait a minute. Most people don't. Most people don't
work.
Most people don't work in this country because we've sent all our jobs offshore to fucking India and China and Vietnam and Mexico and Bangladesh and all the other fucking countries.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that we have a legacy problem, okay? We have people, like I said, I keep saying this shit, but I mean, half the kids right now are being raised on food stamps. We are creating idiocracy, and it's not a good idea. We shouldn't be raising kids on food stamps.
Agreed, Gary.
I like the idea. I like the idea of Disneyland orphanages. I just don't. I don't
No,
see it.
no, it's not Disneyland. It's not Disneyland orphanages. No.
Don't do anything else. I think it's something we should have done a long time ago, right? I mean, Disneyland orphanages is just a great idea. Why should orphanages...
No, the great idea is you fucking bring jobs back to America. You fucking stop offshoring, you stop globalization, you stop NAFTA, you stop GATT, and you stop all that shit.
We already did that subject.
Well, I'm going to do it ad infinitum ad nauseum, because I'm never done doing it. Because that's my fucking argument. You bring jobs back to this country. That's what's going to fucking end homelessness. That's what's going to fucking end, the Detroits of this world. You bring...
Fiona, you keep making comments about this kind of shit, and it sort of does piss me off, but,
Well, okay, you be pissed off. Go ahead.
The smarter a kid is, the less likely they are to get pregnant, okay? I know you don't quite understand that, but it's a statistical proven motherfucking fact, okay?
I perfectly well understand that, and I understand that.
She's less likely to have more than 2 kids. It's a fucking fact.
I'm talking about how to restore this country, Gary.
You shithead. I'm talking to somebody in the comments.
Oh, sorry.
But you're always talking over everybody, so you won't know that.
No, you're right. You're right. Sorry about that.
At least he fixed his fucking mic.
Well, it's true. So we have to give him some sort of incentive to keep functioning.
Some sort of fucking righteous. Yeah, you know what? Build a statue to me on the shores of New Jersey. This guy fixed his fucking mic.
No, I think I'll do the minimum. I'll cross you off of make a voodoo doll and shove a fucking stick.
Oh, fuck you! I can make voodoo dolls. You don't even.
Doing you that much of a favor, okay? I'm trying to give you a positive incentive that I'm actually going to take your name off of the voodoo doll list. So now you have an incentive to keep functioning properly, okay? So keep on not being an asshole, and yeah, I'll reward you by not,
You'll take me off your voodoo doll list.
Exactly. I won't do like zombie witchcraft and such.
That's very white of you.